A new rice bowl. How the Philippines surpassed China in food imports is a fascinating story of economic shifts and changing trade dynamics. The global food trade is a massive network with countries around the world relying on each other for essential staples. This interconnected system ensures that nations can access the food they need even if they can't produce it themselves. Rice and pork, two dietary cornerstones for billions, are key players in this international exchange. These commodities are not just food items, they are cultural staples and economic drivers. For years, China held the title of the world's largest importer of these commodities. Its vast population and growing middle class drove an insatiable demand for rice and pork. But recently, a surprising shift occurred. The dynamics of global food trade are constantly evolving and new players are emerging on the scene. The Philippines has overtaken China, signaling a change in the global food landscape. This shift is not just about numbers, it reflects deeper economic and social transformations. This shift raises important questions about economic trends, food security, and the future of agricultural trade. How will this impact global markets and the livelihoods of farmers and traders? This change didn't happen overnight. It is the result of years of gradual economic change and evolving market trends. It's the result of complex factors at play in both nations. Economic policies, political decisions, and market demands all contribute to this shift. Understanding why the Philippines has surpassed China requires examining the economic and political forces shaping these two Asian giants. Each country has its unique challenges and opportunities. The implications of this shift extend far beyond simple import numbers. It affects global trade relationships and food security strategies. It speaks to broader trends in global trade, food security, and the relationship between these two powerful nations. The future of food imports and exports will be shaped by these evolving dynamics. The numbers don't lie. A look at the data reveals some fascinating insights. The numbers tell a compelling story. In 2024, the Philippines imported over 10 million metric tons of rice, eclipsing China's imports of 8 million metric tons. This is a significant milestone in the global rice market. The pork market saw a similar trend, with the Philippines importing 2 million tons compared to China's 1.5 million tons. This shift in import patterns is reshaping the global pork industry. This marks a significant shift from just a few years ago when China dwarfed all other nations in its demand for these staple foods. The historical data shows a clear trend of changing consumption patterns. This change is not a blip on the radar, it's a sustained trend that has been observed over the past few years, indicating a deeper transformation in the market dynamics. It reflects a sustained trend observed over the past few years. Analysts have been closely monitoring these developments, and the data consistently points to a shift in global trade patterns. The Philippines' rise to the top spot in rice and pork imports is not merely a matter of statistics. It represents a broader economic and agricultural shift within the country. It signifies a fundamental change in the global food trade dynamics. The trade routes and supply chains are evolving, reflecting new economic realities. This shift has profound implications for both countries and the world at large. Economists and policymakers are now tasked with understanding and adapting to these changes. As we delve deeper into the reasons behind this change, we'll uncover the complexities of global food security, economic policy, and international trade relations. The story behind these numbers is one of adaptation, resilience, and strategic planning. China's shifting appetite. Understanding the decline. China's reduced reliance on rice and pork imports is a multifaceted story. One key factor is China's successful efforts to achieve greater self-sufficiency in food production. Through investments in agricultural technology and infrastructure, China has boosted its domestic output of rice and pork. This has reduced its dependency on foreign suppliers. Furthermore, changing dietary habits in China have also played a role. As incomes have risen, Chinese consumers have diversified their diets, incorporating more meat, dairy, and processed foods. This shift away from traditional staples like rice and pork has contributed to a softening of demand for imports. Additionally, China has implemented stricter food safety regulations and import controls in recent years. These measures, partly driven by concerns over foodborne illnesses and quality issues, have also contributed to the decline in imports. A growing nation, a growing need. The Philippines' demand surge. In contrast to China's declining imports, the Philippines has witnessed a surge in demand for both rice and pork. The country's rapidly growing population is a major driver. With more mouths to feed, the Philippines has increasingly relied on imports to meet its food needs. Furthermore, the Philippines has faced challenges in boosting its domestic agricultural production. Limited arable land, frequent natural disasters, and underinvestment in the agricultural sector have hampered the country's ability to keep pace with its growing food requirements. To ensure food security and stable prices for its citizens, the Philippines has turned to imports to bridge the gap between supply and demand. This strategy, while addressing immediate needs, highlights the vulnerability of relying heavily on external sources for essential food items. Ripple effects, global trade, and policy implications. The changing dynamics of rice and pork imports have sent ripples throughout the global trade system, affecting various stakeholders from farmers to policymakers. For exporters of these commodities, such as Vietnam, Thailand, and the United States, the shifting demand landscape is both a challenge and an opportunity. The Philippines' growing appetite for these products presents new opportunities for these exporting nations to expand their market reach. These countries have ramped up exports to meet the Philippines' demand, investing in infrastructure and logistics to ensure timely delivery. They are capitalizing on the shifting trade winds, but this rapid expansion is not without its risks. However, this shift also raises concerns about over-reliance on a single market and the potential for price volatility, which could impact long-term stability. Price volatility can lead to unpredictable market conditions, affecting both producers and consumers. Governments in both importing and exporting countries are closely monitoring these trends, analyzing data, and adjusting their policies accordingly to mitigate risks. Policy adjustments are being made to ensure that trade remains beneficial and sustainable for all parties involved. China, for instance, is seeking to diversify its food import sources to reduce dependency on any single country. It aims to enhance its food security through strategic partnerships and investments in overseas agricultural projects, particularly in developing regions. The Philippines, on the other hand, is under pressure to strengthen its domestic agricultural sector to ensure food security. By reducing its reliance on imports, the Philippines aims to build a more resilient and self-sufficient agricultural system. Can the Philippines maintain its lead? Whether the Philippines will maintain its position as the top importer of rice and pork remains to be seen. The country's continued reliance on imports hinges on several factors. Economic growth, population trends, and the success of government efforts to bolster domestic food production will all play a role. If the Philippines can achieve greater self-sufficiency in rice and pork production, its reliance on imports may decrease in the future. However, this will require sustained investment and policy reforms to address the underlying challenges facing the country's agricultural sector. The future of rice and pork imports is not merely an economic issue. It is intertwined with broader questions of food security, national development, and the complex interplay of global trade dynamics. For both China and the Philippines, the shifting landscape of rice and pork imports presents both opportunities and challenges. China, as it seeks to diversify its food sources, has the opportunity to forge new trade partnerships and invest in sustainable agricultural practices globally. By leveraging its economic clout, China can play a leading role in shaping a more resilient and equitable global food system. The Philippines, on the other hand, faces the challenge of balancing its immediate food needs with the long-term goal of achieving greater food security. This will require strategic investments in agricultural infrastructure, research and development, and support for smallholder farmers. The path forward for both nations lies in embracing innovation, collaboration, and a commitment to sustainable agricultural practices. a shift in the global food landscape. The Philippines surpassing China in rice and pork imports is a powerful reminder of the ever-evolving nature of the global food system. It underscores the interconnectedness of nations, the importance of food security, and the need for adaptable policies to navigate the complexities of international trade. As we look to the future, understanding these trends and adapting to the changing dynamics of the global food trade will be crucial for ensuring a more stable and prosperous future for all. The story of rice and pork imports is not just about two countries. It's a microcosm of the challenges and opportunities facing the world as we strive to feed a growing population sustainably and equitably. Section 9. Join the conversation. What are your thoughts on this trend? The shift in rice and pork imports from China to the Philippines raises important questions about the future of food security and global trade. What are your views on this development? Share your thoughts and comments below. Let's engage in a thoughtful discussion.